Says we're live.
All right, I think it worked.
Yep.
Okay, so let's call our meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Poolesville Town Commissioners. It is June 7th, 2021, and it is 7:02. And looks like we have all 5 commissioners this evening, as well as Wade Yost, Jay Gullo, John Strong. And Martin, would you like to lead us in the pledge this evening?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of
United States of
America,
America,
and to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
One
one
nation.
nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty
and justice.
and justice for all.
Thank you. So first on our agenda are our commissioner reports. And I'll go ahead and start us off. So Poolesville Day Committee and the town of Poolesville are definitely planning a Poolesville Day. So very, very happy about the planning that's going on with that. It's definitely a go. Mark your calendars for September 18th, 2021. Maybe a bit smaller scale, but really all of the usual activities are being planned. In the morning, of course, in addition to the breakfast for local politicians to talk fair access, the parade, it looks like it's at the moment is a go. It's being planned, which is great. The committee is confident that it can move forward with that. And I had a conversation actually the other day with Gaithersburg City Mayor, and they're hoping to put on their usual Labor Day parade as well. So it does seem like we're in step with what other municipalities are doing now, especially now that so many of us in the county are vaccinated and the COVID numbers are so low now countywide. So it's fantastic. The afternoon into evening, there will be booths and food vendors and child fun area, and there's already a few musical guests that have been booked, and then there's even some mention of some new items, and one of them is an interesting one, a You've Got Talent kind of activity. So getting very excited for that. I wanted to mention tomorrow is PHS graduation. So congratulations to all of our graduating seniors. Boy, it's been a crazy year for them. So congrats to all of them. There's gonna be an actual graduation this year, which is fantastic. And it's happening on the football field, which I think is pretty neat. And there's also the second year in a row, there's going to be a grad parade going down Hughes and then down Wooten Avenue to the high school. And that's at 4 p.m. tomorrow. So again, congrats to all of them. Town of Poolesville has some events planned for the summer as well upon our approval tonight. And Kathy Buck will join us in a little while to go over those in our agenda a little bit later. And that's all for me. I'll move on to Martin.
So we have the Planning Commission has not met since this board last met. We have a meeting coming up. The only thing that you all should know is that because we have so much on our agenda right now, with the master plan and everything, we're going to try to meet, work in some extra meetings to try to play a little bit of catch up. They'll be open meetings. They'll be announced like everything else. So I'd imagine we'll do a couple of those until we're caught up. So we'll probably be doing two a month for a little while. That's all I got.
Wow, you guys got your work cut out for you.
Yeah,
right.
Fun stuff.
Jim, want to go next? Oh, you're muted.
Fair Access had a Zoom call with Andrew Friedson last week. It actually wasn't just Fair Access, it was members of the PTSA as well, the various PTSAs. And the end result for the meeting with Andrew was that he gave us some good insight, and we basically, in trying to reset our advocacy, we're always trying to have our bases covered, and Andrew was such a great asset in getting us past the original vote, the vote that we've just had, that's given us the first tranche of funding. All this, by the way, can be found in the monocle with an article that Link wrote. That we need to retail our advocacy now to how to get this last group of funding needed to do the gym the way that we're supposed to be doing. A couple other things, also to have the county take recognition of the need for a wellness center. And then also down the line, community centers. So we have a full white paper on all of our goals, and I'll make sure that white paper gets published out there to the various places, Facebook, et cetera, so everybody can see what we're up to. In addition to, in our meeting with Andrew, he gave us some pretty good insight on the thought process for the high school. And, there's some people that have the thought process that the initial building of the science wing really should be considered to be part of this project, and the costs that have been, and the money that's been allocated to this project. Someone could say that they look at it that was money that was allocated early for the rebuilding of Poolesville High School. And maybe it was early when they were thinking that 1 year later they were going to build the rest of the high school. But we all know that was 10 years ago. Not the case. We also kind of dug in a little bit and saw that it was about that building that science wing was just as much to accommodate the magnet programs as it was to potentially add students as time went on. So we pretty much debated that, and then we walked away from it saying, Andrew, thanks for giving us that viewpoint, but we don't agree. That was a totally different construction process and a different budget allocation, et cetera. So pretty interesting, good conversation about that. More conversations. We just talked about how we're going to have to continue to do the work that we've been doing, which is kind of a trioca of advocacy. School board members, the ones that are particularly sympathetic to us and to Poolesville and to our direction. Also, too, with a big one is with the staff of MCPS, and talking to MCPS. They really do drive a lot of the policy and budget creation and policy decisions. So we do have good relationships with those guys. We've got to dig back in. We have to make sure that they're pushing for us as well. And then last but not least, we do have a big event coming up here again at Poolesville Day, where there'll be plenty of candidates that have announced for that they're running for offices countywide, potentially statewide. So as we did coming up on 4 years ago, we're going to work hard to woo those guys. Everybody's going to be involved. All the commissioners we want involved. Of course, all the Fair Access Committee members. We're definitely going to have a program, a presentation. We know those politicians are going to want to be seen. We feel like they'll definitely be at the parade. So this three-headed monster of advocacy will continue to be Board of Education, staff for Montgomery County Construction, as well as our county council members, and of course on the periphery, our delegates and our senator. So that was the gist of our conversation with Andrew. Again, we walked away from it that he's fighting hard for us, and we'll continue to strategize with him. It's not that we just want to try to make it seem like he's on our team. He is on our team, and we need his help. So that's what the Fair Access has been up to in the last couple of weeks. And I've sent all that to the commissioners too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ed, can we go next?
All right, let's try this again. All right. In terms of the Sustainable Poolesville, so we didn't meet this month. Last month, we'll meet this month. Just a couple of things. So there's something called Tree City USA, and so Poolesville has been approved as part of Tree City USA. Also, Joyce has shared an email that there is some grant money where there is a Maryland Smart Energy Committee FY21 award winner. And so part of what she shared was that the town of Poolesville agrees to adopt energy efficiency and renewable energy policies, bear with me, to complete an energy baseline and an action plan in accordance with the requirements for participating in the MSEC program and receiving funds for energy projects. So the town proposes to utilize MSEC EC funding in order to complete an energy baseline to consider a retrofit of its streetlights to assess the efficacy of solar technologies for powering streetlights and our parking canopies, and to determine options for battery storage at its public works facility. But basically, bottom line, Joyce and that team has really been working really hard just to look for opportunities for Poolesville to receive any kind of awards. And so they're on the move. We'll get more details when we meet in June. Other than that, in terms of sustainable Poolesville, that's really all I have. But while I do have some airtime, I definitely want us just to recognize the Mr. Maraskin over at John Poole Middle School. He was awarded as the Middle School Counselor of the Year. So I think that's something worth celebrating for Mr. Maraskin over at John Poole. Is doing a great job. And also one of our residents, Jennifer Orstrand, she was recognized as the high school MCPS High School Counselor of the Year. She's a school counselor. She lives in town, and she's a school counselor at Churchill. So we're doing it with our residents, and then we're doing with those who are working and serving the people of Poolesville. Definitely wanted to just publicly acknowledge those two. All right, that's it for me.
Can I add something, Carrie, to what Ed said? Regarding sustainable Poolesville, I had a conversation with Danny Embry too, and I'm sure you're probably aware of this, Ed. He was expressing interest in having sustainable Poolesville have a seat at the table for the rewriting of the master plan. We just had an initial conversation, which of course is like, something that we would probably ask for anyway, but we welcome your all's participation in that process. So.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Martin.
I just thought of something while you were talking, Ed, that I keep meaning to shoot you or other members of the Sustainable Poolesville Board an email, and I keep forgetting. So I'll just mention it quickly here. There have been so many little libraries popping up all over town. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but a lot of people have mentioned it to me. And so it was just sort of a thought of, and I don't know if this should go more to Sustainable Poolesville or to the Parks Board, but just as an idea of maybe some kind of a map, like a walking map, linking folks from one to another. It's really interesting. I don't know if it's quarantine or what, but all of a sudden we have like 20 little libraries in town, which is pretty great. In addition to the little, was like board games container that's over at Stevens Park as well. Anyway, just a passing thought.
I think it's a great idea. I know it's not on the agenda to go through it today.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, it would probably be a great project for a group of students and a great way for them to maybe earn some SSL hours. And so when we get into our July meeting, I'll be bringing forward my ideas on a youth advisory group. And so Fantastic. I'll bring that in July. I wanted some of the other things to kind of settle down before I introduce some new things.
Fantastic. That's
okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Jeff.
Well, my report's going to be extremely brief because we didn't have a meeting. And our meeting, which would have taken place on Wednesday, has been canceled June the 9th. So we do not have a meeting until July. The last meeting we had was the walking tour of the parks, and that was quite an enjoyable, but I gave that report at the last commissioner meeting. So no new news.
All right, thank you. Did I get everybody? Okay, good. So now we are on to public comment, and we have a couple of people joining us this evening. So let me try to bring them in. Katie, can you hear us? Oh, there she is. Can you hear us, Katie? Uh-oh, I can't hear you though. You're still muted.
Okay, now I'm off mute.
All right, go ahead and please make your public comment, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, first I wanted to just say thank you for allowing me to jump into this meeting and just get onto the agenda. I am just kind of I've been watching a lot of the recorded, kind of catching up with the recorded commissioners meetings. I have been joining the live ones, and my question or comment was more of a concern, I guess, where I don't think that people's questions that they're bringing to the table during these commissioner meetings are being responded to. In fact, they're not being responded to. And oftentimes I will sit there and think, oh, well, I have the same exact question. But then there's no response given at the meeting, nor is there any type of, we'll look into it. I know that at one meeting, I guess it must have been in April, I believe, I think it was in April, may have been in March. Mr. Commissioner Eck actually made a comment of, oh, I appreciate the question. We should definitely get back to you on that. But other than that, in the last, I don't know, I've probably watched, let's say 10. It just doesn't appear that there's really a response from the commissioners. And I believe with previous commissioners, there had been more of a response, or at least an acknowledgement of, hey, we don't really know the answer, or this is something we need to discuss, and so we're going to get back to you. It felt very like topics and people's concerns have been brushed off. I don't want to say ignored, but I think brushed off, or the topic then quickly changed. And like I said, with me having some similar questions or thinking, oh, that's an excellent question, that's a great point, I hadn't thought about that. There's really, without you all giving a response, there's really no way for people like me who might, again, have the same question or thought to follow up on that. So I just wanted to kind of address this and just ask if there's a reason that these questions don't get responded to, if there's a place that I just don't know to go and look for follow-up with some of the questions that have been posed, or if there's a way to kind of get back to answering some of these questions, or at least, like I said, at least giving the, we're not sure right now, but we'll look into it type of answer. It just has felt very brushed off, dismissive. And it hasn't felt very good lately with that stuff. And so I just kind of wanted to get everybody's input and just kind of see, how else this can be handled again, or maybe there's a follow-up spot that I'm just not aware of. And if somebody can kind of point me in the right direction. And that's it for me. That was my question.
Can we give an answer? The lady has a really great point.
So this time during public comment, I know you mentioned being on the agenda. This is actually a portion of our business meeting called public comment, right? So we are setting aside a certain amount of time for folks to come on and be able to talk about whatever they want to, because we want to be able to hear what's on the minds of our residents. Mm-hmm. But the business meeting is just that. It's a meeting for your elected representatives to talk about the business of the day, which is what is our agenda. Without going into it too much, because the point of public comment is for you to be able to share your thoughts, but it's not a give and take. It's not a back and forth period. And I guess I just respectfully disagree that we aren't communicative, because I would say I spend a good amount of my days responding via email and phone. I call almost everyone who contacts me, and I know the rest of the commission is very communicative as well. And we do actually have someone else here to speak. So
before before the lady goes away, sorry about mispronouncing your name several times, but I think the lady has a very valid point, and so do you, Carrie. some of the reasons why answers aren't given right at that moment is because we probably don't know the answer right at that moment, or don't have a good answer anyway. And the other thing is that when certain topics come up and then they want to be discussed immediately, well, they weren't on the agenda, and we have an obligation to put things on the agenda so that folks who are interested in that item and they see it on the agenda, then they can come in and participate. So there's a couple of different reasons, but we definitely, I'm talking to all the commissioners now, we should put together a mechanism, because if this lady feels, if Ms. Stowers feels this way, probably a lot of people feel that way. And we're not closing the loop on the questions well enough anyhow. So that's my 2 cents about it. Thank you.
Carrie, I'm correct when I say that the people who bring up questions here, we answer their questions like in a private, like we respond to the questions. Am I correct?
You always respond to questions.
Yeah.
I would say I respond to the majority of them just because of my role, but I would say everyone on this commission responds in some way to folks who come on our meetings, who email us, who call us, who talk to us in the Dollar General. It happens constantly. So
it's important
that conversation.
It's important that people realize that that the questions come in and we don't just say, yeah, whatever, that we take notes and we respond and get the person an answer that had the question. And, Jeff's points are also all accurate that I think by law, whatever's on the agenda is what we have to talk about, and we listen to public comment. So, but we are getting back to people we are getting back to residents with answers to their questions and their concerns.
Perhaps, perhaps one of the things that we could do, because I'm hearing what Katie's saying there, and it's just look at how can we create more of a systematic approach to responding and follow through, because sometimes, if I'm hearing her right, sometimes one person might ask a question and I know we'll follow up with that individual, but then there are others who are watching and they're just like, well, hey, what was that answer and what did they say? But that person who asked the question, who was responded to, might not go out and share all that information that was told to them in a phone call or in an email. So perhaps we could put on the agenda, what are some ways for us to improve our communication flow of information? And we need to put some time in and think about what would be a way to enhance our follow-up and from items that are brought here, knowing that we couldn't necessarily go have an exchange back and forth with each public comment, but because we do need time to go back and make sure we have an accurate answer. And so, and I think what I heard you say, Katie, was to be able to at least acknowledge. And so, Katie, we're acknowledging that there are some concerns just about follow through and communication, even if it goes beyond just the individual who asked the question, but to the broader community. So perhaps we could look at how do we send out share information that might have more people interested in the response beyond the person who asked the question. So commissioners, maybe we could get together and kind of tweak that and improve that process.
Yeah. Agreed.
Katie,
thank you very much for bringing that to our awareness. Yeah.
Thank you. No, it absolutely works. And I do appreciate, if let's say that, for example, Joy has been on a couple of times, and she's been one of the people that I thought, oh my gosh, that's an excellent point. But then if I don't then go and email you all and say, hey, what was the answer to that? Which I could do. But I can't be the only person watching that or at least I don't think I am the only person watching that might have that exact same question. And I don't know how I don't know how that gets resolved necessarily. I don't know if it's maybe in the next meeting, you can start by just kind of giving the responses to the questions that were asked. Not sure. But that's exactly right, Ed. That's exactly right. And so any help with that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Well, thank you, Katie, for coming on.
Great point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
Thanks
Great
for having
point.
me.
Yep. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we have one more person.
You know that time when your pen runs out of ink and you keep shaking it at least as if ink is going to come out? Hey, Christine, you're on, by the way. You got to unmute.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure how this worked. Hi, everybody. Thank you for
Hello
letting
there.
me speak.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey,
And
Christine.
you got three minutes of fame.
Oh, I don't even think I need that much. But I just wanted to make, as I said in my email, a very quick suggestion that Poolesville consider perhaps implementing a native land acknowledgement. And this would basically be a statement that would acknowledge the native peoples that once lived on the land that is now Poolesville. And it would fit in really well with, you know, our attention to history, our exploration of looking at a more inclusive and a more complete version of history, and would also just tie into, I feel, and enrich the people that live here, as well as the people that come and visit, to understand all these various stories in Poolesville. And as I said in my email, my caveat is I'm not an expert on this at all. I've recently become interested in this through my own research and some experiences at work. And I'm actually attending a webinar training tomorrow on land acknowledgements, where obviously I will learn more, and I'm happy to share what I learn in the future if there is interest in pursuing this. That's it.
Hey, Christine, can you keep me in the loop? I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about what you learn at the thing you're going to.
Absolutely,
Please.
I'm happy to share.
And
Yeah.
maybe drag Kenny Scholes with you.
All right, Kenny Scholes. I'll look him up and see if he wants to come.
Kenny, you've been drafted. You didn't even know it.
It's okay. Well, I think it's fair. Like Carrie said, I posted something on my personal Facebook page and I was like, hey, Carrie, hey, Martin. And Carrie's like, well, you know how it works. You bring it up. You can be the one to look into it. So
That's what I've always found to be the case.
It's fair for sure. And I know all of you are really busy. So
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion.
absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you, Christine.
Yeah, keep us in the loop, Christine.
absolutely. I'll send a follow-up email.
Great.
Or to everybody, please. Yes.
Absolutely, I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You
Bye,
too, take
everybody.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you. She did it herself. Okay, so that concludes public comment. And now we're on to approval of minutes. So we have minutes from May 17th, 2021, and minutes from our special meeting on, and I can't seem to read the date on my,
May 24th,
thank you, May 24th.
2021.
Does anyone have any amendments or discussion about either of those minutes? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure, I motion that we approve the minutes from the 17th and the 24th.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second by Jeff.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. The motion carries. Those minutes are approved. Thank you. Old business, our town manager search update. Today was our final day to get applications in. Is that correct, Wade?
That is correct.
So where are we at now? Are we just in the gathering stage?
No, so we have 28 applications.
Wow.
And so today was the cutoff. And so they're ready to be gone through. I think you guys talked about setting up a committee, and we do have 5 applicants for that committee. So as typically done, take a look at next meeting, perhaps interviewing and appointing them to this committee and move forward with it.
Hey, Wade, can I ask you just a ballpark question of those candidates that applied? How many do you think are viable, like serious candidates?
I have not gone through any of the applications yet. They were
Okay.
still coming in today. So we've not gone through them at all.
But are there some? Give me some hope here.
Oh, it looked like there was from what Bobby had told me. Bobby had looked at them. I have not seen them yet.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Wait, you said there was how many?
28.
28.
Oh. I'm
Is it-
surprised by that. Pleasantly surprised.
Is it possible we could put together the 5, solicit the 5 people that have agreed to serve on the committee and get them lined up now tonight so that we can move a little quicker than 2 weeks from now for the next meeting to appoint them and to see what goes on, or what kind of process are we going to do on that?
I can tell you what you've done in the past, and Jay could weigh in on it. But typically, if you're going to appoint a committee to review and give recommendations to the commissioner, they should be appointed officially. Am we right with that, Jay?
Yeah, I think it's going to be important that the names at least be known. And I mean, right now, nobody knows the names, and
Yeah, I
you
don't
usually do an
Pretty
interview
hard.
process. So I think that you're going to have at least the names come out and say, these are the people we're thinking about. And I think before you get to that, are you talking about that is the committee, those 5 people? Or is it a committee of 3 of the 5? Or is it a committee of 7 and their staff people on there? I don't know that we've ever had the discussion about what happens with this committee, because you can't really have, I mean, I wouldn't think 5 people who are not in government completely making all the decisions. They would have a hard time following up through with like interviews and things like that for HR purposes. So I think you need to have some discussion of what's this committee's role? Is it just to go through the applications? Is it going to be part of the interview process? All those discussions, I think you should nail down as soon as you possibly can.
And on top of that, there was 4 were residents, 1 was a non-resident. So that's part of the discussion also.
Is there
Thanks.
any appetite to schedule a specific meeting for just this purpose?
Yeah, I think so, because
Seems like we should.
yeah, I think if we
Yeah.
can expedite things. And,
Yeah, because I agree with what Jim is saying. Like, it would be nice to do it quicker than in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Especially we have all the candidates that have submitted their applications on time. I mean, they've got moving parts too. So it's either, I mean, we have to decide our own process. Are we going to meet, schedule a special meeting, probably meet and talk about these candidates that, not the committee candidates, but the town manager candidates, maybe whittle the list down to size and then figure out how to collaborate with the resident committee on what use they're going to provide us as part of this, hopefully what will be a well-rounded effort to find the next town manager. So
Now, we initially
Go
started
ahead.
talking about this. We said that we were going to give them the applications, let them narrow it down to 5, I believe we were talking about.
Yes.
But that was part of the initial conversations. But
So that would be their remit. They would look at 28 and sift it down to 5.
that's
Then
what we
they-
talked about. Yeah.
Then they would, and then those 5, then the choices would be, then those 5 and the commissioners would make the final choice of the 5. Is that what you're thinking, Wade?
Yes. And, we do background checks on, maybe narrow down to 3. And, it just depends how it goes. Look at the 28, there might only be 3 good ones. I mean,
What
I
was
don't
the
know at this
process?
point.
What was the process last time? I don't want to belabor the giant point, but what was the process last time?
Very similar to what we're talking about, except the headhunter actually did the work rather than a committee.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
But what you and Jay are saying is that we need to have a time to have an actual discussion about what is this committee's purview.
And the members, right?
Right.
Right.
And the technical things, are they going to look at the applications whole? Are they going to have names? Are they going to have blind applications? I mean, what they're going to want to know what their role is too. And is it going to be weighted? And you really need to figure out how you're going to be involved. Maybe not you all, but the town. It would be very odd just to turn over all your personnel things to people who are not affiliated with the town and have any idea of town understanding. I mean, it's good to get a wide variety of people, but it still needs to be grounded in the organization.
Right. Like I would see probably a larger committee where you would have those who, and I think we were hoping that we would find some people who had HR backgrounds. I think that was a part of the initial discussion.
Mhm.
Then I think we also, on this committee, I think we should include some of our staff. We should say, okay, what we need to, my recommendation is that we define what is the committee, what is the roles and responsibility of the committee, and what would that membership look like? I think the 5 are important, but I also think there has to be a vehicle for some of the staff members, such as your department heads, your chairs, and to make sure they're part of that process. I think Wade should be a part of that process, and maybe a couple of commissioners.
So, I mean, we could go ahead and put something on the books right now, book a date.
I think we're going to have to do that because otherwise we're going to
Yeah, let's not drag
talk
it out.
ourselves in the
Yeah,
circle.
we're gonna go down a rabbit hole of this topic, which is not on our agenda.
Yeah. So let's set a date that's fairly soon.
All right, what about the calendars? Let's go.
Would this Thursday work for anyone?
Not me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm out Friday. Well, actually, I'll be in California, but I can Zoom if I need to. So pick a date. I'll be gone Friday through Wednesday.
How about next Monday then, the 14th?
Yeah, I could do the 14th.
Yeah, this is Jeff. This works for me.
Can that work for you, Wade, Jay?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I got another my 10th grandchild's being born on Sunday, so I'll be able to, I should be able to Zoom in on it.
I have a conflict, but I've been able to manage multiple meetings before, so we'll work it.
Or what about Tuesday? Would Tuesday the 15th be better?
No, don't change it for me. I'll be able to participate. So.
Well, Wade might have a grandbaby on his lap too, so.
That's a fine note because Tuesday I'll be driving back here, so you can't catch me on Tuesday. So, and Wednesday I got a planning commission. So,
7 o'clock on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go 7 on Monday. In preparation for this, can we get some information about the 5 people?
Yeah, I think information about the 5 folks and information or a recommendation from Wade and Jay, and I guess Wade and Jay and Bobby, in terms of how
we'll put some
go about this.
Definitely, I'll put a draft together what we can take a look at, and we'll give you something to start cutting up at least.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And maybe Jay, through your lens, if there's some important points of consideration.
Yeah, I think I can work with Wade on that, and I don't think it should just be listed. We should think a little bigger since we're having this meeting. We should be talking about what the rest of the schedule is going to be. So we have a path forward from narrowing it down to interviews to how you get involved, and then come up with on that night, bring your calendar so we can lay out some dates of when that'll work.
Excellent.
Also, I wonder, since I know Ed has had tons of experience in this, I wonder, would it be worth asking Ed if you're willing to, offer some suggestions as to what this panel should look like?
Yeah, I think so. What we could do is, if Jay, you bring with us, and maybe Jay, you could even send us, just in terms of working, these are some points to consider, right? These are them from your lens. And then I think I like what Wade was saying also, Wade, just in terms of a start point. I think in terms of who should be on that committee, that group, you definitely, whatever process we use, it definitely should involve some of that stakeholder input, not just the residents, but also some of the people in those key roles that would be working with the town manager.
I can make that happen. And I think it's really going to be important that there is town personnel somehow involved, because it is our responsibility that we don't fall into any, discrimination, and even the questions that were asked and any of that stuff. An outsider doesn't have those kind of duties and obligations like we do.
Right.
So you're saying you.
Yeah, I think we'll start off with a larger team, and that way the voices can be heard that represent other parts.
All right, great. Well, that sounds like we have a good starting point.
And Wade, could you let us know if you, once you've had a chance to digest those resumes a little bit more, if there's like 6 really amazing candidates or 7, maybe we could change that number from 5 to 6 or 7, whatever it may be, if there's, if you think it's worth it.
Oh, sure.
I'd like to see all the resumes. I don't think it's incumbent upon town staff to just sit there and pick 5. I think all the commissioners, if you want to, I don't know why we wouldn't want to look at all of them.
Yeah, I would like to look at them.
Okay.
Are they on the town website for downloading or anything?
No, I could put them on a OneDrive or something and send that to you guys. Yeah, I don't think that'd be public information at this point.
No,
Jay
because
could
it's their
correct me.
personnel.
Right.
information.
We don't want to share those, like letters of reference and everything. That's personnel records that we can't share. So these have to be close held no matter what we do with them.
Yeah, if you want to put them on whatever OneDrive is with a password, then, and send a link around, then we can
That might be the easiest way to do it.
read them, right? Thank you.
So it sounds like our action plan then is that we'll meet next Monday, 7:00. Prior to that meeting, we'll get a chance to preview resumes, look at points of consideration from Jay, and look at a start point from Wade. And when everyone brings their calendar on Monday with them.
Well, I think I'd like to see it that we have that by close of business on Monday, by our meeting, we should have the role of the town committee members completely defined. We should have a protocol set up for reviewing, carving down the resumes, and then a timeline for each one of the review process, said including town staff too, have that put in place. So, I said, these guys are moving on. You've got people that are applying for jobs. They're not just looking for a job in Poolesville. So, Ed, I'm just agreeing with you, but I'm just saying that
I think what you just want as much structure. Agenda.
Yeah, I want as much structure out of Monday. Really, we should have been done by now. We kind of decided all this, but let's do it by Monday and have that meeting and then set ourselves up for this next go round. Because really, all we've been waiting for are the resumes, the cutoff date. And then we also had I'm not sure if we had a cutoff date for the community involvement or the citizen involvement, but I'm satisfied that there's 5 good community members that are going to be part of that. Or if we decide to do 3, that's something like that. That's fine by me. I'm just looking, I need a different set of eyes, and I need to determine what that different set of eyes is going to do for us when it comes to helping decide who the next town manager is.
Jay, are we talking about a closed session?
I don't think so, because my impression is we're not going to talk about people at all. We're going to talk about process that we're going to put these people through. And I think that Wade and I will collaborate between now and then, and we'll do it just the way you have the other items on the agenda. Here is our recommendation, and we can go through it. You can tweak it. So you're going to build the machine and then hand it over to somebody. So I think that should be public, so the public knows exactly what you're going to use as your process.
Okay, great. But then we also need to be really careful if we're going to be looking at actual resumes this week. And then having an open meeting.
Right, and I don't think that you should be discussing any resumes at this meeting, because I'm trying to figure out what we need to do, and I know we're anxious to do this, and maybe we'd hold the resumes until the meeting. That would be something we could do. But what is the committee's role if you all are going to get involved up front? That's one of the things we're going to have to kind of hash out here.
I think the benefit of the resumes, and you treat it as a confidential document, the benefit of the resumes is so that we all could just have an understanding of who are the people applying, what are some of the common skill sets, so just to know, but that's not something we talk about in a public forum because it's people's private information.
Right, and I think we're going to have to also have some ground rules so that the public is confident that there isn't favoritism. And you all are going to know the names. We don't want you to call people on this committee. We don't know what the committee is going to do, but let's say they're the ones that whittle it down, that there's pressure put on people. And so I think that's going to have to be like an on your honor agreement that this is what you're doing and what you're not. But I think, Wade, don't you think you and I can handle this by Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see, I still want to see the resumes, and I don't see why. Of course, they'll be kept confidential. And I also want to, I don't see the citizen committee making the final decision. When I propose this, I want their input. But the commissioners are the people that are elected, and we're the ones that get to make the call on that.
I see what you're saying is that we're not actually having them do the whittling. They're going to be recommending to the thing.
Giving us just a completely different set of eyes.
Well, again, I think this goes back to the discussion that we need to have next Monday night is what exactly are we asking them to do? What part are we coming in on and when? Honestly, I'd be in favor of waiting to see the resumes until next week.
I guess I'm just thinking with 28 resumes, having enough time to thoroughly go through them. I think if it was like 5 or 10, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I think with 28 though, it is just, I'm just thinking about efficiency.
And also too, what if we have 28 resumes and we don't have one local person that submitted a resume? That's another reason why I want to see who it is, what they're doing. Obviously, we're not making decisions. Obviously, it would be kept confidential. I just don't see a reason why we can't look at those. I mean, Kara, if you don't want to look at them, then you can just hold the file if you want. But I want to be a little more prepared for the discussion on Monday night. And I also want to be, I do have a concern that if we're hiring somebody, if we're contemplating hiring somebody from out of town, we may want to open this back up again if there's no good candidates that are, that kind of fit our profile. And, I'm just have concern that if there's no local applications, that's going to bug me a little bit.
Did we make that a requirement?
No, it's wide open.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean that has to be a requirement. It just, I have a concern.
Why don't you give Wade and I tomorrow to get our act together, and then we can come up with, something. This isn't going to be hard. It's just hard to figure out with 8 people on board. So
I think
that's
Understood.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, Jay,
Thank you for, thanks for listening to my concerns.
Hey Jay, isn't that giving you till tomorrow or maybe the day after tomorrow? If you guys would also look at a proposed agenda. I mean, I just wrote one, but I'm gonna hold back, right? And I'll put it down. But if you guys come up with a proposed agenda for Monday's meeting too, then that way we could just kind of move through.
Take a picture and send it to me. Okay?
Yeah, if you want to send that around, Ed, we'll definitely look at that.
I don't want to sway the decision making. All right.
All right, great. Good plan. So next under old business is our HR consultant. I'm very excited about this.
Okay, so on May 4th, we sent out the request for proposals for human resources services. And it was broken down into 3 different HR disciplines. One was just the general human resources consulting services. We're talking about, assessing the staff right now, employee handbooks, policies, everything that's going on right now. The second portion was just to assist in recruiting and coordinating with the onboarding of the new town manager. And once we get past what we just talked about, there'll be background checks and those kind of things, and they can help facilitate that. So it's not really, we're way past the search and all that stuff. So it's just helping with the technical aspect of it. And then the third one is to evaluate the current staff and see and provide recommendations for additional staff. And you probably want the new town manager by the time you get to that point. So I see it's kind of a linear work in progress as it goes along. And that's the way most of these proposals came in. So we did receive, proposals were opened on June 1st, and we received 9 proposals. They were all good proposals. I've done a breakdown evaluation sheet that I sent out to you also.
Yep.
And going through it, some of them had disciplines were really strong in some areas and not others. There was a couple that really filled that came in really responsive and filled all the categories well. And the best one for that was Bryant and Bryant. They're out of Pennsylvania. They will be coming down, and if they get chosen, to work with town staff directly here in Poolesville, and they'll do some things online also. And you see there was a myriad of different types of proposals that came in. A lot of them were, several of them were just based off of internet or web-based kind of services, and they would not come out. So I think when we had our previous discussions, we talked about, we want to be able to have somebody face-to-face at some point going through, helping us build up our HR services. So with that, what kind of questions you guys have for me?
I'd like to know, I'm curious, like, this might be more like something that's hard for you to answer right now, but like all the stuff that we're going to ask of this potential HR company, like assuming we were to pick Bryant and Bryant, any idea what the cost would be for like all the, background checks, reviewing, calling references, all that stuff? Like any idea how much we're going to end up spending for that?
So Bryant and Bryant just had cost associated with it, an hourly rate for those types of things. So it depends how much we're going to ask of them for that. Now they estimated for the natural or the regular human resource stuff, it was a retainer of 5,200. Screen is sideways.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Looks like 150 an hour.
Fix that.
It's that little number
Yes.
at the bottom box there.
Yes, and that was pretty typical all throughout our proposals. They were, they varied from anywhere from 95 up to 200, but that was a good average of what everybody was in the same ballpark as far as that cost goes. They did estimate it was 12 months, and they were only doing I think it was 15 to 18 hours spread out over the 12 months. I could see that probably going to be much heavier loaded up the first couple months, and then probably gets less and less as it goes on.
Yep.
They didn't have a minimum, which is fine. Some people had a minimum of, certain number of hours, which I didn't like because I think that we're able to kind of control it ourselves. So I don't have an exact answer to what that would be. It depends what we're going to have them do, but we have more control over it. That's kind of like, it was a better fit.
Yeah. Well, I looked all these over, and several of them look qualified, but you're the one that really knows this stuff inside and out. So I think in this situation, I would defer to your opinion. If you think Brian is the strongest, I see no reason not to agree with that. They look good from what you said.
Yeah. The references came in outstanding also.
Oh,
So I called them all, and yes, followed through.
which one in your opinion was number 2? Wait,
MMC?
MMC. Oh, okay.
Actually, the very first
They're in
one.
Maryland.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The price and what they estimated their
Yeah, those
time-
numbers are substantially bigger there. Yeah.
Yes, they were, and yes, and they didn't really break down the proposals as instructed to, as far as different prices for different sections. And whenever I look at proposals that come in, you got to follow the request. I mean, that's very important to me.
Yeah, I know you can compare apples to apples a little bit. So do we make a choice now?
You can if you want to. That was the whole thing. You're ready to make a choice whenever you want to. I
So-
put it that way.
Are we? So you actually were on the phone with these people and you talked to them at Brian, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So commissioners, do we feel like Wade interviewing Brian is good enough for us, or do we want to actually interview them ourselves also, like a second interview kind of thing?
Oh, I'd be happy to have a phone call with those folks or have a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. I think that would certainly improve comfort level, not taking nothing away from Wade.
No,
No,
I
no.
totally agree. Like I trust Wade's judgment, but
Yeah.
maybe just like a short Zoom interview, just to sort of get a feel for them and make sure that we're all comfortable with what we're about to do.
Yeah.
Because they're going to play a pretty important role in town stuff for some time to come, hopefully a long time to come.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could attach that onto the meeting Monday night, maybe go into closed session afterwards. And
does that one, a meeting with them, does it have to be closed or could that be open? Since we're not talking about any personnel, we're just talking about, a contract.
I think that would have to be open.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely open.
Okay.
That's what I was
No
thinking.
reason not to be open.
okay, so can we do that Monday night then? If they're
Let me try to set it up.
okay.
If we
They did that with remember the not the Bumblebee, the Bambi people that we spoke with. That was an open meeting on Zoom.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe I like Martin's idea. I'm thinking if we go with Wade, maybe the top 2 or the top 3, give them a certain amount of time to present what they can do. Give them maybe 10 minutes or 7 minutes, but to go through, present to us why they feel they would be the best one to meet our needs.
So that just switched. Were we just going to interview the one PR firm? HR
Yeah,
firm?
I thought we were just going to talk. I thought we were just going to talk with Bryant and Bryant.
But I think it's good to at least have one to compare, and I think even it's
Yeah.
right, because if we have to interview just one, then I would, if it was just one and we weren't looking at anybody else, then I would just go with Wade's recommendation. If we want to compare, maybe the top 2, then take the top 2, let them present, give them a time allotment to present, and then we go from there. Normally you do about 3, but if you got 2, you take your top 2, interview, see which one presents the best. If there's anything that We need to, anything else that we need to make a decision. All right.
So that'll be MMC and Bryant, right, on Monday?
Well, or is before we call MMC in here, is that price a deal breaker?
Well, I think that when I saw that, it was broken down to 85 hours per month for 12 months. And so that was a lot of hours. I would like to ask the question myself, why did you anticipate it would be that many hours? Maybe they were there was a real scope or I wasn't for sure. I was kind of puzzled by that.
Yeah, and maybe just ask them, is that a minimum or is that just a ballpark?
It said not to exceed. So the way it was written.
Yeah, not to go over, but what's I asked them on the flip side, what's
exactly.
the minimum?
Yeah. Yes.
So
yeah, because that number on here is almost a full-time person.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what did you have a number 3?
I really didn't.
Yeah.
Let's just do the top 2 then.
Yeah. And I have one more question too, Wade. The way we'll structure our contract with whoever this is. What if we hire a new town manager and the new town manager is unbelievably excited about a PR firm they've been working with the whole time? Is that going to be something, this contract that we're going to be signing with them, is it at will? Are we going to be able to move on from it? What's the norm?
Good question.
But most of these personal service contracts are going to be at will. You're going to be on the hook for whatever services you have, probably on a monthly basis if they charge you retainers. But we're going to make sure that we have that in there, is that we can get out for cause or for no cause.
Without penalty?
Because I think they're going to understand that. I can't imagine there would be a large outlay where they're going to say, well, you're obligated for a year because we hired people. But that would be something that you would ask in your interview. It's like, how's the contract going to be?
I mean, the last thing I want to do is have somebody cut somebody loose after they get to know us and figure out how to help us. But I'm just, we're again, we knew this was a pitfall, potentially putting the cart before the horse. So we're and enlisting someone that would potentially help us with hiring the town manager. So anyway, that was just my general question. I'm sure we can work it out.
Okay.
Have enough direction from us?
Yep.
Wait.
Thanks for doing that, Wade. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, thank you very much. This really moves forward.
Yep.
That would be great if we could tack it on to next Monday too, if that's possible.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll go for.
Maybe get them in first and right after that, then finish the rest of the stuff we have to do.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're on to new business and we are into our events report. So I'm going to bring Kathy Buck in. Hi, Kathy, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right.
Hear
I'm going
me?
to go ahead and
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead
Hey,
and
everybody.
Hey,
talk
Kathy.
about events.
Yay. So I'm here tonight to ask for your okay to continue planning and putting on some events this summer. Did everybody get the schedule that I?
Yes. Yes.
So I have some tentative dates and some ideas that I think we can safely pull off. And I'm mainly just asking for your approval to get my Friday on the Commons committee back together and hold some of these events.
Mhm.
So
I'll say get the band back together.
Yeah.
So Kathy, it looks like you've got a couple of movie nights
Mm-hmm.
and starting at the end of this month even.
Yep. I've talked to Jeremy with We're Having a Party. He's got movie equipment stuff right here in town. So he said any dates that we want movies, he can be available for us.
Can you get staff?
He's going to run it himself.
Okay.
He's having a real hard time with staffing as far as like inflatables and
Sure.
stuff like that. But I don't know that necessarily. I think our committee would rather come up with some other ideas for kids' activities instead of sticking them in a bounce house and
Sure.
just yet.
Yeah.
And then bands, I should be able to put some bands together. And then I was thinking maybe like the reptile show for the kids or a magician or something one night that, hopefully I will be able to get on the schedule. And then late August, I'm thinking having some brewers and some bands, so kind of finish off in late August with a larger event that takes a little longer to plan.
Mhm.
And we normally do about 10 Friday on the Commons events. So getting 5 in, I think we should be able to do.
Hey, Kathy, do you remember my neighbor Ross and his idea to have a sunflower festival? He
No.
wrote an op-ed in the Monocle.
No,
Anyway, this was might have been 2 years ago, but before COVID. But his idea was to tie in something like a sunflower festival in town and tie it into the McKee-Besher sunflower bloom, which I don't know, that might be tricky because you don't always know when they're going to bloom.
right.
But to try to get more people in town, it sounded like something worth thinking about, but I just wanted to ask you about it.
That's a good idea. And I like your idea, Carrie, for the garden tour, but I like the idea of like the people I talked to at the community garden, they thought that should be like May. And
Yeah, maybe that ship has kind of sailed this year.
so next year, I think that's a good idea. And then Poolesville Day, like Carrie had said earlier, is happening. And then in October, hopefully we can go right into, we did the Big Flea last year with the recycling event in October, and that turned out good. So we'd have that, the Scarecrow contest, and then the holiday lighting. So pretty full year.
And I think we also had a conversation at one point, Kathy, about possibly coordinating with PTA about, since we obviously didn't do the carnival this year, like flipping it and doing something at the start of the school year.
Right. So, yeah.
Is that possible, or is that?
That could probably be done. I'd like to talk to the committee and get them involved with that. And if I get the okay tonight to move forward, we were going to meet next week, hopefully. And
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hey, Kathy, I was reading through, thank you for all your work. And then I was reading through the document there, and I saw the limited activities for children. So I don't know if this would fit in or not, but since a lot of the kids at their different schools, normally the kids get a chance to do like a talent showcase at the different grade levels. I mean, like the elementary, middle school, and high school. Is there a way to weave something like that in where you might even have like Poolesville Got Talent, where you have something that young people could do, like a talent showcase earlier times for like elementary, then in time for middle, maybe some local high school, and then even adults?
I think that's what we're planning for Poolesville Day.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Skip's working on that, and it was going to be for the three different schools.
Where they could showcase their talent.
Yep.
Yeah, I know my kids. Their group of friends. They often talk about that because there's some kids right in town who have some really amazing talents.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, so like some of before the movie would be a great time. We could have kids on the stage,
Yeah, and even if you weave it in, so that's something to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe having different evenings where kids from different, the elementary, middle, or high school, where they could come through, and you don't have it all at once, but like, hey, we're going to showcase, maybe work with the 3 different PTAs.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yes.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get Jeff and Jim to get out there and sing for us also.
Yeah, I don't think you want me to be singing.
I'm just messing with you.
I know.
But it looks like other municipalities are also starting, like Rockville's going to do some movies, and I see now the Kentlands has added in some concerts. And so each week it seems like people are moving forward cautiously. So,
Well,
Captain, just to borrow some of your time, the Poolesville fireworks will happen.
nice.
So the 4th of July fireworks. So that That is a go. Very happy to report that.
Yeah, that's
We have quite a number of food providers lined up, and the fireworks show by Zambelli again is going to be a great show.
great.
So yeah, all the things are falling in place, and most importantly, the COVID numbers are falling in place. Montgomery County is now allowing unlimited persons in an outdoor gathering. So all these stars in the moon are starting to line up for a little bit of normalcy, as you put it. Yeah.
So, and as far as advertising, normally we do a postcard, but I think this year we're thinking, just advertising in the Monocle and on Facebook, and we could add, we recommend unvaccinated people wearing masks on all of our advertising.
I think that's great, and I think that's pretty standard now.
Yeah.
Oh, you need us to give the go ahead? Is that the idea?
I think I do. Right.
Yeah, I believe so. You guys, you get close things down. So there'll be a motion to open it back up.
I motion that we accept and move forward with the recommendations given to us by Kathy Buck for the activities.
Yeah, I just had one quick question of Kathy. Are all these items already in the budget there, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, swell. Excellent. Yeah, so I second Ed's motion.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you.
Thanks.
Kathy.
Yay,
Thank you,
a
Kathy.
sort of normal year, maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
So, thanks for joining us. Okay, sorry. Now we are on to wastewater treatment plant report. So this came about because one of our staff, our water, what is his title? Water treatment supervisor?
Wastewater superintendent.
Superintendent, yeah.
Had a conversation with a couple of commissioners, and then Commissioner Eck wrote a memo that alerted us to some issues that seemed a little bit concerning. And thankfully, Wade has gone ahead and created a report for us that definitely has made us all feel a lot better about some of these things that did raise some red flags. So I asked Wade to just kind of go over that this evening.
Okay, sure. So a couple of things that came up were, possible safety things. And one was the height of railings around the basins. And I think that the superintendent was confused a little bit on what the actual regulations are. And he voiced his concerns, and we looked up the regulations, and they are in compliance. I mean, they were constructed by a plan that was approved by Maryland Department of the Environment. Inspectors are out there from MDE. So if there was something going on wrong there, they would definitely have notified us and gave us time to comply with it. As far as other safety issues, I had Matt go ahead and reach out to Maryland Rural Water, and they have inspectors that come. They're a great resource. We've used them for all types of things. And they actually had two guys come out already this week and took a look at the plant. Said maybe there's some signage you could put up on different things, but really they said that the plant was in very good condition and very good shape as far as safety issues go. So that was always a good thing to hear. And we could pursue that further if we want to. We're still looking at other inspections and stuff. We also, local insurance government trust, or as our insurance provider, they actually come out and inspect all the parks, all the equipment. They measure to make sure that it's the exact distance for that your head entrapments can't happen, and pinch marks or pinch from the swings and different types of things can't happen. They go to the wastewater plant, they go to all the wells. So, we are fairly covered as far as inspections go for safety issues, just like we're talking about. There was a question about some paychecks as far as we get a 5% increase, and the premiums, insurance premiums did go up. And I think that he had also heard from somebody else that perhaps they were going to make less money because the premiums have gone up so much. That's certainly not the case. They still get a raise. There was a question about the denitrification process and the funding for that. Maryland Department of the Environment has funds in the budget for that right now, and we should be getting an approval letter in July, which is the new fiscal year as it starts. They're able to send out notifications on this once it's all passed.
Does that mean construction will begin already?
Well, the process will, and John could probably talk about that, but everything's slow with working with the state. But John,
so real quick, the budget year comes around. Once budget year comes around, then we'll get notified by the state of Maryland in an official letter. Also, the agreements will come forth for the funding. Once we are able to go with that, we'll be able to get the plans finished out for the Montgomery County permit, the building permit. Once we have all that in hand, then we can go out to the bid, and those bid documents are already prepared. They were accepted by MDE, but we need to know exactly what the front ends of the documents are going to look like. In other words, what is MDE going to require in that contract to show in compliance with the grant? So once we have all that together, then it goes out to bid, probably about 8 weeks after the initial date that we posted. We'll have a bid result. And then we have to go back to the state of Maryland. And once you as a commissioner say, or we accept this bid, that goes back to the state of Maryland, Maryland reviews it. So you're probably looking, if we were to get the notice to proceed in July, you'd probably start November, December timeframe is when the awards would take place.
And this is a building that's going to attach to the basin on the end. I don't know what the number is.
It doesn't actually attach. It's part of the treatment process. There are 3 separate buildings that are going to be built within the complex. One of them is a area that controls the amount of flow that comes out of the SBRs, and then goes to the denitrification area, where there'll be a series of tanks basically, and then the other portion is where the chemicals will be stored for the treatment as part of the denitrification process. Then it goes back into the existing system. So there will be new construction, and that's why we need to get the Montgomery County building permits.
John does have plans, and are they at town hall? They can take a look at them. Curious.
They should be. They should still be there. If not, I can send out a set of plans to any of the commissioners that are interested.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. Lastly,
yeah, sorry. Did you have one more point about the lagoon there, Wade?
Exactly. I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
So yes, the lagoon. We had done some testing and started to do it in 2019 just to check the integrity of the clay liner that's there to make sure that it wasn't leaking or any seepage was occurring. We did dye testing, and then when I was gone, actually we did the borings when I was there also, bored down into the berms to make sure that there was no water in them. Did dye trace testing, and sealants were released into it also because they would have coagulated up and came out in any seepage areas. None of that occurred. John actually put a report together in February of 2020. Unfortunately, it never left the town manager's desk, and so Matt didn't get to see it. It was sent to MDE, which they have a copy of. So the superintendent really wasn't aware that the lagoon is okay as far as it goes, and that was a communication thing that shouldn't have occurred, and hopefully doesn't happen in the future either.
Okay. Just to add on to that real quick, one of the comments was that the liner had surpassed its life expectancy. That's incorrect.
Yeah.
Is there an expiration date on the lining?
No, it's an earthen liner. It's actually built in accordance with Maryland 378 at the time, and that it's in compliance with the regulations. It's a soil, it's soil that exists when they built the existing berms.
Thanks, 'cause that's, this particular wasn't the first time I heard it from Matt this is way back when, maybe it was January or December. And
Right.
we did that kind of tour. And
Right.
that same item came up then. And I think it would, the words were, I think somehow the lagoon is leaking.
Negative.
Okay.
Negative. Our synopsis is there's a series of existing conduits. There's probably what they call piping along the conduits that's creating because where it comes, where you see it protruding out is in the where the blowers are located, which follows the conduit. The conduits run down there. There's probably a spring or something along that's creating that condition. Also, there's no slope failure, which you would typically see with a embankment failure, where there's no sense of a slope failure. None that has been documented or seen as of yet.
Okay, great.
I guess we could talk about this in a closed session, but that's a lot of information that seems like was put forward that's not totally accurate.
Yeah, and so I had put on our open meeting agenda to discuss that, but Jay recommended that we discuss it in closed session, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
So unless there's any other questions for Wade about that, I think we're on to town manager's report.
So Wade, did you go back and discuss this with Matt?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so Matt has seen all the writing?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and he concurs with that?
Oh, yes.
Swell, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to say much more because it is a personnel issue. That's why we don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, we'll discuss it in our closed session, Jeff.
Okay, see, Bobby's made a list up here of different things. She says she's recommended that town hall reopen on July 6th.
Yay.
Yep, she consulted with other clerks and other municipalities in the area, and that seems kind of be the opening date that everybody's using, as well as the Maggie Nightingale Library. I believe it opens on that date also. And she does say that all services at town hall were met during the COVID-19. We had curb service for everything that needed to be done. So she also has listed here the recommended commissioner's summer schedule. So she has meetings June 21st, July 19, August 16th, if needed, and September 7th. So that's what we've slated right now for the summer schedule for commissioners.
So the summer schedule has one meeting a month instead of two?
Yes.
Okay.
And there might be special meetings in between, depending on what's happening with the HR folks and the
Right.
town manager. So,
Yeah, we'll probably be meeting more often about that than regular business meetings this summer, I would expect.
Wade, are you able to send that out in an email so we can all put it on our calendars?
I will.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And just for clarity, and so do you anticipate that we would still be doing it through Zoom or in person?
I think after your if town hall's open July 6th, correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, but you guys were going to go back to regular meetings, weren't you?
And when we have the regular meetings, can we also have the Zoom option so people can, or the YouTube option rather, so people can watch?
So we are working on that. That's my next thing right here. So she has our computer technician is in there working on the meeting room to set it up so that they still have the Zoom capabilities. She does say that she would like to have the people that want to speak must be present at the meeting rather than Zoom in. And, she's asking for that.
Yeah.
Also recommending that we maintain the sign up and time requirements that are currently being used. And that's very common with all municipalities. You have to sign up usually a day before, but at least by noon that day, sign up and then have a time requirement, whether it's in person or however it works, either way.
Yep.
Okay.
He was recommending agendizing this whole conversation for our next meeting, so hopefully we can quickly decide.
Okay. Okay. She just a reminder here that the summer camp was canceled. We talked about that at the special meeting. Main reason was I couldn't get enough employees, especially the directors. She's also sent out the pictures of the historic signs, and she said there's a new layout. Everybody see that? You guys want to talk about it?
I think it's gorgeous.
I saw it, and you know, it's not particularly exciting or whatever, but apparently it's what other towns use, and you know, at this point, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I really like it. I have it right here. It's beautiful.
Jim, you're the font guy.
I can't say I love it, but I'm okay with it. Thank you.
All right. So you guys want to move forward with them?
I'm
Yes.
okay with it.
Okay. Signs are good. Okay. All right. Let's see. The water tower verbiage or P or Falcons or whatever. We need to narrow this down. John's got the RFP ready to go. And that's like the sticking point here. So what is it?
What was the last recommendation?
Keep it as it is.
Which is this, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I like this. Yeah.
Do a lot of towns do like a P in that Poolesville?
I've never seen one.
No?
Not to say, I mean, I don't know. My only thought was when you're going to put
One or
yellow
the
up
other.
there on the water tank, how is that going to? So we picked when we first picked the color of it. It's called daiquiri ice, and it's chosen because the mold and mildew and stuff really doesn't show up on the tank. It does now because it needs to be painted again. But that's one of the things. So my only thought was I've never seen a yellow tower or yellow on a tower. How is that going to degrade over time, and what's it going to look like relative to just a regular block letters? So I don't know, and block colors.
I think if we go with simple, elegant, low maintenance.
Agreed.
Daiquiri ice seems like the right choice.
Yeah, I think we could have the daiquiris and let the tower be simple, elegant, low maintenance.
Yeah.
So do we want to give Wade the okay to go with that? Is that what we're looking to do here?
Yep.
Could you just say the total cost? Just because I don't think people know.
John, what was that?
That was what I just showed was the daiquiri ice.
No, the total cost.
Last time we looked was 350,000.
Oh, that's for the whole tank. Yes, yeah. I thought you had a breakdown for just the
35,000 for the lettering.
lettering.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, I think we're in agreement. Or do you want a motion from us?
If it's a consensus, you guys are fine. We can,
I think we're
Sean, get his marching orders. We can just go.
It's already in the budget, right, Wade?
Yes.
Okay.
We've been saving up for this for several years.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah, it's good with me.
Jim, are you okay with it? All right.
Roll. Okay.
Okay. Fish stocking recap. So two of the ponds, we were able to get a hold of Department of Natural Resources, and they actually had extra catfish this year due to COVID because everybody wasn't having their fishing tournament rodeos and things. They came out and they stocked Collier Circle Pond and the middle school pond. And then we're trying to get into a rotation with them so they can come out and put different species in different ponds every year because they have fisheries, they run the fisheries, and just kind of a neat program, and it's free. So, you know, the fish hopefully will survive for the most part. A couple of the ponds are kind of shallow and they get hit with chlorine or extra fertilizers in the springtime when you have heavy rains and there's a kill off. But that's just part of it because they're stormwater management ponds. So, you know, do what we can. I saw on Facebook, one resident had his grandson out there fishing and he was catching all kinds of fish. So that's neat to see that.
Thanks for everybody's work on that. I think that was a fantastic compromise.
Yeah, thanks, Wade. And I understand Bobby and Carrie, you had a lot to do. You put time into it too. So thanks for doing that.
It was definitely a team effort, so it was great.
She says, I don't know if this was a previous conversation, but she says all street lights have been repaired with the exception of two. And I guess there's an underground problem. They have to be dug up as far as the wiring goes or something underneath. So I don't know if that was a previous conversation or that's an ongoing thing, obviously. And there's a report, way to folks can report it, a street light out on their street on the website, creates a work order. And that's the best way if people can just reach out to us and tell us where lights are out. And it creates a
Make a
work
call.
order.
I'm sorry, what is the best way to report it?
Oh, on the website,
Oh, the
to
website.
report a street light, it's right on there. Push that button and you just fill it out. And usually there's a little tab on each one of the street lights. There's a number there. So the number of the light and then the address, closest address. And then press it can, get it taken care of. He is looking for summer helpers. So she asked me to announce that. He's looking for 2 3-monthers and 1 6-month part-time summer helpers.
Is he looking for like high school students or just
Ac-
anyone?
Actually, high school students are great. College kids coming back for the summer, that's perfect. We typically use that every year.
We're looking at a minimum age like 16 or 14.
Yeah, 16 is yes.
Okay.
Just so they operate heavy, different equipment and stuff. And then
How can folks best contact?
just contact Town Hall.
Okay.
Yep. I think they've been advertising probably on Facebook. So I don't know if he's got responses yet, but they asked me to carry through the announcement. And then Curie was approached by the Poolesville seniors, formerly known as the Poolesville Area Senior Center. They no longer have stores. They were using the Baptist church and they lost their area to store stuff in. And I guess they have some, 6-foot long tables, a tent, and whatever else that they, use for some of their little events. And they asked the town if they had a place that we could help store stuff, or if they could put a building of some sort behind Town Hall. So we don't have any spot right now that they can store, with the exception, I asked Bobby and thought maybe the old Methodist church, which was an old thrift shop, how that would be. They might be able to use that. We've not really given them the open door to come take a look at it to see if it would fit their needs. I wanted to bring it to you guys first and make sure no one had opposition for them to use that building.
Need to go into it first to make sure that it's.
Oh, definitely. No, because the utilities have been turned off, so we'd have to turn the utilities on and definitely go in and make sure that it's cleaned out, and then invite them over to take a look and see if it is something they can use. So if you guys are okay with that.
I know they would be grateful because apparently all of this stuff is just being stored in like 2 people's
Houses or something, right?
Yeah.
But since it's not being used, it didn't seem like a bad idea.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it also.
Okay. We'll see if it fits their needs and move forward from there. And that is all I have.
All right, great. I think we've gone through everything on our agendas this evening.
You have chain of command too, right?
That is the piece that Jay recommended we speak about.
Gotcha.
in closed session.
Okay. Good. All right.
So would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn. And do we have to make a motion to go to closed session?
Yes, you should read the bottom of the agenda. There's actual verbiage that needs to be read into the record.
All right. Pursuant to, where'd it go? Hang on. Does anybody have it in front of them? I just lost it on my screen.
I have it in front of me. Can you read it from my paper or you want me to read it myself?
Why don't you just read it, Jeff?
Okay. Adjourn to a closed session pursuant to 3-305B1 of the general provisions of the Maryland Annotated Code for Personnel and Commissioner Training.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you
Hey,
all.
Shirley.
Wade, are you able to join us in closed session?
Sure.
Okay.
Jay, nothing wrong, right?
No problem. I think you should be there.
I'll send you the link.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. So there's a
Thank you.
second link to join.
Okay.
All right,
In a
see you
minute.
later.